July 22nd, 2-minute drill. We're going to start out with this. Who is the most improved and least improved team in the NFL going into 2020? Bruce, in Toledo.
Wow. I mean, you got to look at Tampa Bay, right? They signed Tom Brady, best quarterback in the league, as far as the history is concerned. So you have to look at Tampa Bay. Yes, we were talking Bengals initially, but with COVID, man, I'm going to say most improved teams. You got the Bucs, you got the Saints. I look at veteran coach, veteran quarterback, the Ravens, Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, teams that have a veteran coach, veteran quarterback. I look for them. Least improved Carolina, lost a good stable coach in Ron Rivera. So, but man, we'll see what the Bucs are going to do. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I actually see the Eagles as one of the more under the radar, really improved teams, and just more in terms of what they really needed and what they got. And you look at what went right in Carson Wentz's near MVP season in 2017, had those field stretchers. I know it was only Torrey Smith and a rookie year, Mac Hollins, but 2018, Holland gets hurt, Mike Wallace gets hurt. 2019, Djax gets hurt. They brought Marquise Goodwin, drafted Jalen Reagor. Even the late round guys got some speed on them. Defense, out of Darius Slay, finally a good cornerback in Philadelphia. And even got Javon Hargrave on that defensive line. So really like what Philly did on both sides of the ball. And then least improved, Los Angeles Rams. I mean, we know Jared Goff is not an off-script quarterback. It was amazing behind the offensive line in 2017, 2018. Fell off the map a little bit last year. We saw what happened with Gurley. The fact they didn't put any resources at offensive line has the Rams as one of my least improved teams of the offseason.
We're on the same path there with the least improved, Ian. The Rams, I don't know how you go out and you say the best way to support Jared Goff is by drafting in the second round with your first pick, so you traded all the other ones away, a running back. But I'll go to the improved because that's the one that excites me the most, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. They had no one that was getting open on the outside last year. They didn't have a single receiver earn a top 75 PFF grade when lined up out wide. You then bring in DeAndre Hopkins. That's a rags to riches story right there. Kyler Murray is going to be able to make plays down the football field. Finally, he's got someone that can get open. And then they go steal Josh Jones, who is a guy I think all of us would have taken at PFF in the first round, offensive tackle from Houston. They get him in the third round. I don't know if this is the year they make the quantum leap record-wise, but in terms of just how much they've improved, I think they're number one. So,
man, George, maybe the Rams can win you over if they sign T.O. Do we think T.O. can still play in the NFL?
Man, it's one of those questions with it. Okay, no, but if there was a player that hasn't played a league for 9 years, it probably would be T.O. I mean, people have the audacity to look back in this guy's career and call him a selfish player. 7 weeks after breaking his leg, he went for over 120 yards in the Super Bowl. So I'm done questioning what T.O. can and can't do. After that, and to the guy's credit, even that last season with the Bengals, scored 9 touchdowns and nearly came to 1,000 yards. So I'm going to go with no here, but, all the credit in the world to T.O. and what he did throughout his career, and is apparently still doing today.
Did you see him yesterday? I mean, look at this dude. There are plenty of players in the NFL right now that would not look that impressive. Now, I get that he's just running a 40-yard dash, but man, you're telling me you couldn't leverage that kind of athleticism maybe for 20 snaps a game? I mean, T.O. is a guy that I've always felt, I'm right with you, Ian. Everyone hated on him, and needlessly so. The dude was so passionate, he played so hard, and he was freaking awesome. So just for the nostalgia's sake, yes, he could still play. I know, Bruce, you're going to tell me, I'm old and whatever, but I think maybe you could still play too. Maybe John Gruden needs somebody. He'll call you up.
George, I could definitely still play, baby. Look at that. Look at that. I kind of look like T.O. in this video right now, but I'll tell you what, T.O.'s speed was never a factor, but it was his separation ability. And at this point, man, he doesn't have it. Plus, he's got brick hands. Let's be honest. He's not a natural pass catcher. But I'll tell you what, he was electrifying to watch. Anytime the ball was in his hands, after the catch, he ran like a monster. You loved watching him play, but I don't think he had it.
Him at running back.
And that's not a bad point. Knock him over with their big guns, baby.
Speaking of some of these running backs, big fantasy news this week was Rams coach Sean McVay saying he has not one, not two, not three, but 4 running backs he wants to trot out this year. George, are you buying this, or is this just classic coach speak?
The only reason I would care about this is if he was saying that about offensive linemen. But he doesn't even have 4 offensive linemen that he can run out there. So, no, this is just coaches trying to talk about something when the only obvious thing to talk about is how they weren't very good last year. And it has nothing to do with the running back position. It has everything to do with the offensive line. If anything, this speaks to maybe coming around to the idea running backs are pretty replaceable. And I still understand why you take one in the second round, but if you're going to trot 4 out there, it lends some credence to, yeah, they're kind of a dime a dozen. But the Rams are going to be in bad shape, man. It doesn't matter how many running backs they have out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, McVay's a smart guy. He's just entering training camp. You got the COVID situation going on. You never know how many backs you're going to need. Why not all give them a pat on the behind and say, be ready to go. I'm using all of you. So I get the mental side of it, is keeping them all engaged, knowing, hey, you're all going to play, because at some point this year they probably will, but someone's got to get into a rhythm. It's hard to use 4 backs in one game and not let someone get into that flow throughout a game. But we'll see how it plays out. If COVID hits hard in that running back room, you'll see 4.
Yeah, it's one of these situations where I don't blame McVay for saying this. He's not going to say his incumbent running backs are just garbage and how excited he is to feature the Akers ahead of all of them. But if you look back at what he's done over these past few years, Todd Gurley is one of the only running backs, really alongside, McCaffrey and Saquon, that was playing 90% snaps per game. And that game last year, he missed. Malcolm Brown got kind of a featured role. Even, last couple seasons, C.J. Henderson came out of nowhere and was getting the rock 20-plus times a game. So, yeah, maybe they start the season off in this little committee thing, but history tells us that McVay likes to feature one back, and draft capital tells us that one back should be Cam Akers.
Money speaks, baby.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.